What's up, everybody? I'm Dave Miranda, and this is episode 142 of Just Give Me 5. I hope you guys are doing great, continue to be amazing. We got an awesome show lined up for you today. But first things first, I need you to hit that like button, need you to hit that subscribe, and I need you to spread the word about Just Give Me 5. All right. If you guys caught episode 141, you saw we had none other than my man Decoy Munoz. And let me tell you, boy, that kid is such a rising sensation, you know what I mean? And like I said, not only just in, the new generation of pop locking, but the culture period. Because his style is just on another level, and I mean, he has a huge following. Obviously, there's a ton of supporters that feel the same. And, just really just such a humble kid, man, a humble human being, we just had such a great time with him, getting a chance to hear his story. And, it was just truly incredible, I'm a hip hop head, of course. So hearing him talk about, dancing with Kid and Play at the BET Awards, that just got me right there, because obviously that's who I grew up on. And just for him to have that opportunity is so solid, like we had DJ Wiz from Kid and Play on the show. And, that was the closest, but man, that was a really awesome story, man. But just a really good guy, man. And if you haven't seen episode 141, make sure you guys check that out. All right. But today's guest is one of the kindest and greatest human beings to ever come to Arizona media. We're going to talk a little bit about her childhood growing up in the Midwest, as well as what inspired her to become a journalist. We're also going to get into some memorable stories she's covered, her early days in Yuma, making the transition to Phoenix, and so much more. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you Allison Rodriguez.
What's up, everybody? I'm Allison Rodriguez, and all I'm saying is just give me 5. I've tried to forget because I think there's still definitely a part of me that's still in there of how I was when I was younger, but I think it was very typical middle child. I was very curious. I was really quick to grow up. I wanted to be respected as an adult. I took it upon myself to, memorize everywhere that we went just in case an emergency came up, and then my parents would call upon me. Allison will know what to do. Right. I don't know why. Maybe I liked being held responsible for something. I was vivacious, I was inquisitive, I was talkative. Okay. I would say borderline obnoxious, so that's the part that I try and forget and forgive myself about. Right. I think I was just, there was a lot of world to see, and I wanted to see it all and was just ready to be on my way and do my thing.
You grew up now, what part of Chicago?
So my family, I was born on the north side, and that's where I lived until I was about 10, and then we moved out to the northwest suburbs. Okay. So I still say I was born in Chicago, which I was, and that influenced a lot of how I am today. Those first 10 years were really formulative for me.
So I take it you're a Cubs fan, not a White Sox.
That's right. I am a Cubs fan, and I will be a Cubs fan. But you know what? The family parties, they're interesting because I got a lot of family in the Pilsen area and surrounding spots who are all White Sox fans. Right.
So there's that divide.
There's always that rivalry a little bit, but it's all love. We all get together. Yeah. It's a good time.
And I know you were ecstatic in, what was it, 2016, right, when they won?
Oh my gosh, it was unbelievable getting to watch that. And I watched that here in Arizona, and that was so much fun. Yeah, it was amazing. We waited a long time for that.
What were just some kind of influences that you would say that kind of matched some of your personality traits, from being in Chicago, that you just saw growing up?
Yeah, well, Selena is honestly the biggest one. Okay. Something about Selena, I think, reached so many people just beyond the Latino experience. But for me, and I think for a lot of people, she felt just like everybody's prima, everyone's older sister, older cousin, older family member. And it seemed like she grew up like the rest of us, right? Mexican American, where you're kind of straddling both. You're very, Mexican and close to your traditions and customs, but you're also very American and appreciate that your family is here and the opportunities that awards you. And yeah, she just felt like your homegirl. She felt like your sister, your hermana, your prima. And that was one of my biggest influences growing up. Also, just getting to see a lot of the diverse journalists in Chicago, I think also really shaped me, just getting to see that representation. And we talk about why seeing people who just look a little different or maybe have customs that are related to you, you relate to them. You just watch and you go, oh, yeah, they eat tamales on Christmas too. I do that. Right. So that's kind of cool. But also, and it was all love and respect. That's what I remember the most. All right, well, how I became a journalist goes a little bit back to how I said I was very talkative as a child and very inquisitive. Right. So I really can make friends everywhere I go. I like talking to people. I like knowing what makes people them. How did you grow up? How many siblings do you have? What are those things that you remember, your traditions growing up? Where's your favorite place to vacation? Just things that let me get to know people a little bit more. And as I was trying to figure out, because at the time it wasn't like a light bulb went and was like, that's what you should do. Right. I really wasn't sure. And so I also want to let people know that I was not one of those people who was like, from the time I was 5, I wanted to be a journalist and I knew what I was going to do. I didn't know that. So for all kids out there, like, it's okay to go to college and not totally have it figured out. But what I did know was that I wanted to do well in school, and I tried a lot of different things. It was a big, broad kind of like selecting different classes. What do I think I want to do? And one day my older sister, who was a journalist, I didn't really think about it. And she said, well, it sounds to me like if you really like talking to people and hearing their stories, maybe you should consider journalism. And again, that's when the light bulb hit me, and I was already, getting close to like, all right, I really do have to pick a path here. And I said, yeah, you know what? Let me see how I like that and what that means and how I can make sure to hold that standard to the high bar that it is right now. And so that's what I started doing. I went to college, Columbia College, Chicago, downtown, but I commuted because I couldn't afford to live down there. And so I took the train, and it would take me like maybe 2 to 3 hours to get to school. But I was able to do my homework. So I was time managing even then, which is really helpful now. With everything going on. And as I started, to go take more classes, learn more things, get out there with my own camera, talk to people, go to City Hall, sit in on a council meeting. Those things really excited me. And it just kind of all clicked, and light bulb went off, and I said, this is what I want to do. I love it. It's just my personality. I think when I told you, when I was younger and I was a very determined, inquisitive, like I want to get out there and do my thing from the time I was little, that's exactly how I was in school. I said, okay, I did it. I got this degree. I want to put it to use, and I want to go to work. So what am I going to do? Right. How am I going to get there? And one of the first things I decided to do was network. And so I tell a lot of, students and kids when I, talk to them is, go outside of your comfort zone. I'm a talkative person, a friendly kind of person anyway, so I was gonna wanna join these clubs anyway to see who I meet. But if you're not, I say step outside your comfort zone, because you just don't know what opportunities lie there, and you don't wanna shut yourself off from them. So being that way, I decided to join the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. And through that, I got a call for my first job. Going from Chicago to Yuma was a big transition. I was like, where? Right. Where? Show me where that is on a map.
Yeah.
Like Google Images and Google Earth. I was like, what is this place? But it could not have gone better. I loved it. I was a little scared because it's a big transition, but I was also excited for the challenge. Like I said, I never got to live away from home, going to school. So that was my first time like being on my own, and that there was like no bedtime. I could eat junk. No one was gonna be like, you need to have, you need to eat better. Nothing. So that was really, the time in Yuma was really formulative to my adult experience of just learning even more responsibility and taking care of myself in a way that I just hadn't before. Chicago is a grinding city in terms of it is a city of a metro area of hardworking people. And that's why I say it really shaped me. People who do hard, you know, blue collar jobs, white collar jobs, everybody out there is just really hardworking that I always came across.
That's very true.
And that shaped me to ready to grind. So if New York called me, I would have been ready to take on the beast.
Right.
But Yuma called me, and I think it was also really good to test or help me develop more patience in terms of being more laid back. Because I was such a grind kind of person in Chicago, going to Yuma, things are a different pace. And it taught me a lot about being respectful of the process and really ingratiating yourself into where your surroundings are. And I had a great time in Yuma. Some people roast me for that. Some people say they've never stopped in Yuma.
Right. Maybe
but
for gas, going to California.
Exactly. I hear it all the time. Oh, I've been to Yuma. I stopped there for gas once to going to San Diego. No, I had an amazing time. The people of Yuma were so great. They welcomed me with open arms. There's a big Latino population, so I also felt like I was really just getting to work alongside and live in a city that is filled with a lot of people who look like me and do a lot of similar things that I do. And yeah, it was just such a great experience. I look on it really fondly. Plus, I met my husband there, so.
Oh, there you go. Well, then it's all worth it then, you know what I'm saying?
I was meant to be there.
Absolutely. Do you remember like your first story, like first assignment, you know?
That's a good question. You know what? I really don't. Not there. I think everything was so new to me. I remember my first story here in Phoenix, but I don't remember my first story in Yuma. And I think maybe everything was so new to me.
Yeah.
Have to know like how to get home, know the streets, my deadlines and my workflow. And I think I was just trying to like survive and make sure that I did well. And so it was kind of all a blur. Sometimes I still go back there and I'm like, did I really live here?
Yeah. Exactly.
Did I really go to that Fry's there? And did I do that?
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy.
You know, and so then from Yuma, what was it? Just was there like a bigger opportunity to come to transition to Phoenix?
Yeah, and again, all of that happened through NAHJ. I had been in Yuma 2 years already, and I just decided I was ready for my next step. And that came through NAHJ. There is a yearly conference that is held there, and so I decided to go and just kind of see what the latest was going on, and I was ready with my, what we call our reel, that has all of our work on it so that they can see exactly what kind of stories you like to do, what kind of reporter you are, what kind of anchor you are. Right. And I went there not really knowing where I wanted to go. I always assumed that I would go back to Chicago somehow. Yeah. I would end up back east on the eastern side of the Mississippi.
Right, right.
And then one day, an assignment desk editor at one of the stations in Phoenix saw my stuff. We chatted for a while. We got along really well. He was Latino, Andy Ramirez. And he said, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. I'm like, okay. Right. So yeah, he comes back and he said, I think we want you to come here to Phoenix. And I just thought, wow, that was easy. That was fast.
Right.
You're so naive when you're that young, you know what I mean? You don't know. Of course, I was incredibly grateful. It's a huge market jump and it's a big responsibility to go from somewhere like Yuma to somewhere like Phoenix. But I think I had this naive confidence in myself that, you know, since I come from such a grind place, I can kind of make it, I can make this work. I can do good, not just for me, but, you know, for the people we serve, the stories we tell, for the station, that I think I can make everybody like proud and make them happy and do a good job. And so that's how I ended up in Phoenix. And I would say I almost never left, but I barely left for just a little bit.
And who are you currently with for the viewers who may not be familiar?
Yeah, so I'm with 12 News, the NBC affiliate here in Phoenix, home of Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine, who's my Latina sister. I have so many amazing people who I work with there, and I love it. I'm having a really good time. So, gosh, boiling it down to 3 is so hard because honestly, some of the things, you don't know why they stick with you, but they do. They could be things that were so quick but for some reason, like those, because, you know, news, we cover a lot of different things. We're there on people's best day. You could be there on people's worst day. And I am a very people person, and I carry all of that with me a lot. So I have so many memories, but if I had to pick 3 kind of highlights. So from very early in my journey, I remember covering the Yuma County State Fair and being on top of the Ferris wheel and eating a funnel cake.
Okay, yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it.
And that was so much fun. It was, you know, one of my first times being out somewhere. And getting to do that when everyone is just so happy and having fun. That was a really good memory. I really love that one. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was live with the mic.
With the mic?
Talking about, yep. And I said, take me up. And we did that, and that was so much fun. I love that.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. We've done so many things here. I mean, the Super Bowl, getting to cover the Super Bowl here. Right. Is there anything better? I remember the last one that it was just raining and raining. Yeah. And that was kind of crazy. I think it was the Seahawks and the Patriots that year. Yeah. And another one is probably covering John McCain's funeral. Okay. Yeah, because John McCain is just such a titan in Arizona. And when he passed, I think it was just such a big moment for Arizona. And I was grateful that my station trusted me to be able to do that in a respectful way. And also, just as an Arizonan, I think most of us were all, you know, grieving the loss of this big figure who had been a part of all of our lives for a long time. So just before he passed, not too long before he passed, I had covered a story. I believe it was a Marine Corps birthday, like a milestone birthday, and he was there. And he even told just a story quickly about his time as a prisoner of war. And just hearing some of the stuff that he went through, I think I was very appreciative to get to hear that from him, because it's not something he talked about a ton as it got later on in his life. But I know that a lot of people, especially in that room with veterans, like really respected that he came there and what he had to say. And it was amazing to be in a room to see how everybody reacted to seeing him there. Right. Yeah. He was a presence. It was powerful. So, yeah, but I've had others. You know, I've been down at the border several times. I covered the president several. When Obama was here at Sky Harbor, covered when Donald Trump was here, and I covered recently President Biden near the Grand Canyon when he designated a new national monument up there. So there are a lot.
What's that? I've always wondered, what is that like covering at the airport, like when the president arrives? You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like that G4, you know, just coming in like just, oh man.
Air Force One has touched down. It's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of security. We have to be there hours and hours and hours before just to make sure security is all good and they know everything is safe. So it's a very buttoned up, secure type situation. And everyone's pretty respectful about making sure we respect the procedures and everything that goes on. Yeah, but it's very like planned, you know what I mean? We talk about time management, like everything. Well, most of the time, any president, doesn't matter who it is, like usually running a little bit behind. Right. They are the president, so.
Right. They get a pass.
They get a pass, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you cover, that's the crazy thing about this business. You could be just doing you could be at the fair one second, covering a presidential visit the next second, hugging a grieving mom another second, talking about education in another second. And that's the thing, like no 2 days are the same. And that's in a way a good thing because it makes it a little bit easier on those harder days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, but overall, Allison, it's like, it seems like you really just, like, you love what you're doing, though.
I'm having a really good time. Yeah. I mean, if you're not loving what you're doing, then why are you doing it? You know, recently I did a story about an astronaut, a NASA astronaut. His name was Michael Anderson, and he went to 3rd grade in Avondale, and sadly he died on the Columbia Space Shuttle when it fell apart. And I got a chance to talk to his sister, and one, it was uplifting because I got to hear like how her brother was just such an overachiever, you know, physics grad, like he was into chemistry and physics and science, and it was his dream to become an astronaut, and he made that happen. And we laughed together, we cried together, and you know, I don't take those days for granted. I don't take any day for granted, people sharing a little bit of their lives with me. What's next? I am looking forward to telling more stories. A big reason that I ended up at Channel 12 is because they saw how much I love talking to people from all walks of life. And they said, we want you to do that for us, but in a bigger way. Go tell the stories of every neighborhood, every community. So one, with that kind of trust, I mean, I just feel like I'm getting to go out in all the communities of the Valley, all across Arizona, and getting to meet so many amazing people. It's one of the best parts of the job when we talk about, like, I love what I do love it. And for me, it's just really all about growth, continuing to learn more, meet more people. Every time I meet someone new, that adds to my life. I learn something from everyone I talk to. And so I just want to learn more. I just want to grow more, and I want to eat more good food. There's a lot of good places to eat in Arizona. Yeah. And you know, that's what I really want to do.
You know, what I love too is that, you know, from what I've seen is that, you know, you're really big on Latina empowerment. You know, kind of break some of that down too to us. You know, where a lot of that just comes from. You know.
Yeah. Well, I am really big on Latina empowerment, and maybe this stems from Selena, I don't know. But getting to see her when I was young and always rooting for her, that's just how I've grown up. My mom has 4 sisters, so there's 5 of them, and they're always supporting each other and loving each other. And I have 2 sisters, and we're always supporting each other and loving each other. They're my best friends. And yeah, and I have always felt that we can accomplish so much together. We have so many good ideas, women in general, but sometimes I think Latinas especially need to know that people believe in them, people believe in their story or believe in their dream, or that there is no reason that we need to hear more of the Jeff Bezos and, you know, and the Tim Cooks. And I want to hear about the entrepreneurs and change makers that we have here, who's changing the state. And, you know, I always heard this, I heard this from somewhere, so I don't want to take credit for it, but it's like really like before you change the state, you change the city, you change the neighborhood, you start by the block, right? Exactly. You change the block. And I just think we're all, you know, capable of so much. And if I'm given this chance to spotlight Latinas who are doing amazing things in science, in business, in just always, then I feel it's my responsibility to get to share that with them and let more people know about what they're doing. Oh, oh my gosh, that's so, it's such a gift. It like fills me with warmth, and I know that I don't take any of their love for granted. And it's funny because I ask my husband this question all the time. I said, do you know that I love you? And he says, yes. And I said, do you feel loved by me? And he says, yes. And I think the whole point, right, it was just making sure that, like, the actions that I do, that people feel loved in their own way. And I try and do that with my family, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my best friends, you know, Monica, Kaylee, Nick, everybody, because I hope they get what I get from them. They feed my soul, they fill me up, they make me feel loved. I hope they feel loved by anything that I do for them. It's really special. Yeah. Beautiful. I feel lucky. It's nice. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go get some sleep. I'm Allison Rodriguez, and this was my 5.
And there you have it. Man, shout out to Allison. You know, her and I have been communicating for a while. You know, we're trying to set up this whole situation, and I'm just so happy that we were able to make it come to fruition. You know, Allison is a true gem, you know, to the Arizona community. And like I said, man, just a really, really kind soul. We were so happy to have her on this platform, you know, and get a chance to tell her story. And just, you know, nothing but greatness. I wish you nothing but the best, my friend, and nothing less. Make sure you guys are following her on social media. And shout out to my brother Jimmy Nelson on the camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. Well, this was definitely one for the books. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, though. Until next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy, and just give me 5, y'all.
Everything you get, you got